Thanks for joining us for this episode of Strategic Storytelling.
Jesse and I work together to help people and businesses reach and connect with their communities.
Brian is a visual storyteller, designer, and chief creative officer at Pathfinder.
Jesse is very passionate about entrepreneurship. He's a very loyal person, and he is a very caring individual as well.
In marketing, the storytelling leans on the strategy, but the strategy needs storytelling to be effective.
Agreed. Welcome back to another Strategic Storytelling with Jesse and Brian, and we're going to continue the conversation about the just rising costs in general, but the rising cost of marketing. But really, we're going to get into video portion of that this time. So
I would actually, there's tons of arguments for price increases right now, inflation as a whole being one of the main ones, and there's lots of travel costs, food costs, all these things are kind of built into this. But separate that for a minute and just talk about the past, really since COVID, the past 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
One of the biggest increases in price for marketing at all is video. And it isn't because the cost of video increased. It's because of the need for video increased.
Yes.
There's a lot more needs for video. So, you used to be able to get by with less video in general, and now you can't. Mm-hmm. And so this did two things.
Holistically across the board, like even on websites, websites get ranked less if there's not video on it.
Ads do worse without video.
Yeah, so
social media posts are literally programmed to be better when it's direct video.
Yep.
And now since COVID time, the introduction of TikTok and Reels, which is 100% video.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those are like little a bunch of clips smashed together.
Yeah.
That's still a video. Some of it's I've seen them like the entire video is one graphic and then it's just the audio of a podcast or whatever over it. But it's technically video. Those don't do as well on an ad, but they can for social posting. But yeah, like what happened really, I think 2 things happened. One, we need more video, period. But then that also trickled down to small businesses, where small businesses were getting away with not doing video.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them were not doing video of any form. Some of them were, holding out their phone and doing their live talking session of mixed quality. But this has just been a huge change. And what I think we can talk about maybe next, maybe whether the cost of video increased per video, but the need for video dramatically increased. Part of that was like, hey, everyone's on the internet and not in person. So now we have to live stream stuff more. A lot of churches switch to that, still do that.
As human beings, we want to see that. We want to see those
grab the clips from that, all that kind of thing. Just everything's recorded now. Like even stuff that's not like incredibly interesting is recorded because we want to hit a larger audience. That's just what it is. And I don't disagree with that at all.
No, me neither.
But it's caused a lot of challenges for video teams. I mean, we deal with this often, is that not only are there more videos, but now we want to take video A and we want to disseminate that in a couple different ways, a couple different platforms that all have their own different strengths in terms of what kind of video you're putting up, format, quality, etc. Also, quality of cameras keeps going up, and so now the files are larger, and now the rendering time is longer, and now the transferring it from camera to computer takes longer. Storage space need is now increased more, so you can see just like the cost of this is just across the board.
Yeah,
and then primarily, marketing almost entirely dictates some kind of video strategy. It's not everything, but it's no longer optional.
No, not really.
It was optional. It was like next level. And now it's no. I don't care that you're a one-person business. You're doing some kind of video. You might do that with your phone on your own with whatever level of quality you're capable of, but video is required.
Mm-hmm.
And that alone. Cost.
Well, I say, like you said, cost-wise, and whether that currency is actual dollars, but the cost of time as well. Like you said, it you got to record it. You got to set time aside to do that. If you want it to be good, you kind of want to maybe practice, prep, and figure out like
whatever prep is needed for that type of video. Yeah.
And then, like you said, exporting, rendering, then uploading to the platforms that you want to upload it to. It all takes time. It's and as a solopreneur or just an entrepreneur, you don't always have a whole lot of just expendable time to just do those kinds of things.
Really? I've got like tons of time every day.
No, you don't. You're a liar.
I keep wondering why you refuse to allow us to record at 10 p.m. at night. I don't get it. That would be an opportune time for me to record.
I mean, you can, but I'm sleeping. So very boring.
Well, and two, I think, again, it's just, we're getting kind of nitty gritty here, but the cost is in all these different places. It's in storage, it's in equipment, it's in time, it's in editing time, it's in even just upload time.
Yeah.
And then also like, we didn't suddenly like as a nation produce like 100 more videographers of X amount of talent, right? And so even in our business, I don't know that I'd say it's like tons more, but to me, I think I'm seeing in the market that there's also a requirement of more travel, even if that's half hour, 45 minutes, or flights across the states, but more travel, and that then again increased costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's a whole conversation here about just the job market in general and why that is. But again, let's just assume for the sake of this conversation that it is true that there are not as many, or rather, not enough videographers to meet the increased demand.
For sure.
Which is also why I think you see so many people that are not videographers, not trained at all, doing some form of video, no matter how bad that might be.
Right.
Which we've seen a lot.
Even us, like we for 2 years, maybe 45 minutes travel. Now we're flying across the United States to fulfill clients' needs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's the thing too, is like,
well, that eats your time.
That eats my time.
And then there's the travel cost.
And there's just travel cost.
There's just all these different needs.
Well, and then I need to then get caught up in what's going on because that's not the only client.
Right.
So there's
increased volume.
And that's the thing, like that's from sometimes anywhere from 3 days to the full week. Yeah. So I'm just not here, so that increases stress, and then it increases time on all the other things that have to be done as well. So it's, and until you brought it up, I really didn't kind of think about it holistically as in, there is talent out there, but the density of talent is not out there. Like it's less.
Yeah. And I'm saying this like from the perspective of I've seen this in multiple industries and multiple professions.
Yeah.
We're just happen to be talking about video today.
Right.
But like this is a real problem that is happening, which is why I think a lot of companies are running down the track of AI because they think it's going to resolve this. And I have, again, a lot of mixed opinions about that.
AI is a tool. It is not a person yet.
Yeah. I've seen, I was saying to Brian one time, like, hey, I found this software that makes some videos with AI. You just send them the script and then like a human being is talking. And I said, but I watched some of these examples and like I don't know, you almost can't describe it, but it's a real human being, but they have AI'd their voice and their mouth. And it's creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy. Something's off. Something's off.
Yeah. It doesn't feel human at all.
Right.
Which I think is another episode we have to do soon about marketing being human.
Ooh, yeah.
Because especially
could an AI Jesse and Brian then do that podcast?
I'll just talk to ChatGPT. You will feed my answers into ChatGPT.
Yes.
And then read them to me, and we'll just have a conversation like that and see how far it goes.
That'd be perfect.
Because there are absolutely some severe limitations on that still.
Yes.
Anyway. So yeah, the cost is just rising across the board. We're kind of picking on video this episode, but across the board it's happening. And I mean, heck, I've even seen more video within email.
Oh, for sure.
That didn't used to be a thing at all, and now that's happening. There's some interesting ways to accomplish being able to watch an email or a video in an email. More animation, which is basically design video.
Yes,
so it's still video.
Yeah.
And all these needs have just kept increasing. All that to say, I'll do my sales pitch now. At Pathfinder, we have been keenly aware of that and we've actually made video more accessible from a cost perspective. We do video for some small businesses that could not afford it from anyone else. And there are some limitations to what we do in those kinds of packages for sure, because it is a strain to keep the prices at that affordable rate.
Strain is a good word for that. Because we're our top of mind thinking when starting this was we wanted to be able to keep helping entrepreneurs and small businesses, and doing that with video is a strain because it's a
huge strain.
Because it's a time strain and it's a financial strain because it just is.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. I think at the end of the day, it's time mostly, but there are other costs to it as well.
I would say time is probably the biggest cost there.
Well, sort of. Yeah, I guess my additional thought is number one, storage. That cost keeps going up, and we've had some internal discussion about how we handle that for sure.
Still ongoing.
It's way larger than I think most people that are not in this space understand.
Yeah.
The cost and the upkeep of it is...
The cloud is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should do an episode just about some of that, because just so people understand what that really takes. We're not talking about it like this is this gigantic engineering thing,
right.
But like from a cost, time, and use perspective, it's a lot more than people think it is.
I don't think that's a bad idea. Like I said, I'm not sure if it was in this one, and I think it was the last one, is like peeling back the onion. Peeling back the onion, opening the curtain and kind of showing like, here's what we have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's hours. It's hours of management of just storage. Costs that people do not see or think about or even know exist.
Also not my favorite to deal with.
What are you talking about? I love sitting and just looking at files. So there's that. And all this to really say, like, we're trying... We have certain packages the way that we have them so that people can feasibly afford them. And really, they should be more costly than they are. We've actually had some larger clients that still think we should be more expensive than we are. Yes. Even though they do pay, a fair amount more than, the individual necessarily. But it's a big and growing thing. And I just can't foresee there being a giant change or shift away from it again.
I mean, this is something that I said when we first started, and this was around COVID and even before COVID, like the want and need for video isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's, and like we stated at the beginning of this episode, it's only growing.
Yeah. I mean, every year we're doing more video than the year before.
For sure.
Honestly.
I think, what was the figure? I just erased it off the whiteboard, but I think we did 72 or 82 like shoots, and we completed more videos than that, because there was
multiple videos.
Shoots are multiple videos. And
we had 180 shoots.
We had 180.
I mean, when you say it, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I just didn't know the number yet.
Yeah, I think it was 182 shoots, or maybe it was.
I think
maybe it was 182 videos, but either way, that's a lot.
We knew last spring. So summer has always been the busier time for you before Pathfinder.
Sure.
Even when we started Pathfinder, summer was always much more. So we knew last spring, 2023, going into summer, that summer was going to be bad. We also already knew that there was more coming in the fall than we had the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked at that time about how, let's get through the fall. It's going to be what it's going to be. And then, November, December, January, February, essentially, it'll be kind of the breathing time. Yeah. Not dead by any means, but just the lull comparatively. And then it wasn't.
No. So this year. It dipped obviously around Thanksgiving, but came back up.
The week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But then came right back up. December and then went straight into the holiday season of Christmas and all that. Dipped again for maybe a week. And then straight through January.
Well, January is always the worst month for video. Always. And we had shoots in January. And I think in the first year, maybe second year, there were none.
There was I don't think anything.
Shoots. We had video editing to do, but no shoot.
But we were filming in January.
All of January. Yeah. And February was pretty packed. I know March and April were jam-packed.
I think February was kind of where it dipped a little bit again, where we thought, okay, here's the lull. It's coming. And then March and April came and it's like, nope, right back up again.
No, March and April. I mean, I remember just in April, since that's top of mind.
Yeah.
I think you had a minimum of 3 shoots a week and some were worse.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
I think the best week, there were still three shoots.
Well, I think I even told you, like, hey, I looked at the next couple of weeks and this week I didn't schedule anything so we can catch up on editing. Mm-hmm. And then I think 3 shoots got put onto that week. I was like, well, I tried.
Did what we could. Yeah. And so we say that not to tout our own horn about our busyness. It's
right.
It's truly an increase in need. It just truly is an increase in need. I mean, we used to do...
And it's across the spectrum. It's nonprofits, it's for-profits, it's small businesses, it's large businesses. Mm-hmm.
Everybody for any reason. And different types of video.
Right.
Straight on speaker, events.
I'd say interviews, events, sizzle reels, reels,
advertising stuff. It's just been everything. It's just everything.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different kinds of footage to showcase for it.
That's true, and it does help that we definitely like, oh man, there's a need for this, and we've reworked some of our tiers and our packages to accommodate for that. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's it. Like, it just, like, I just think everybody, like, the switch went on. It was like, we need video. And so we're here. Yeah. So let's do it.
And it may also just become more accepted. I think since COVID that small business owners are less
accepted that they need it.
Yeah, like they're like, before it was, oh, I'd love to have that. Oh, that price, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Whether I think I need it or not, or whether it'd be cool or not. And now it's changed to like, we even have, sales meetings where they try to negotiate with us because they feel like they can't afford it, or maybe they really can't still. But they just, they have to try to work something out.
Right. And also, I mean, when we're there to work with them, like we're there to figure it out.
Yeah, we're not opposed to that when needed. It's just like, it used to be like, yeah, shoot me out a price for that. Okay, the answer is no. No discussion, or silence.
And then it would just go,
and now it's like, well, what if we did this? Or how can we change this to be more cost effective, or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, it's always, they have to get it done somehow. They know that. Yeah. And so maybe that's part of we finally hit that point where it's like mass market, everyone accepts the need. So yeah, lots of changes there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's not over. And,
no.
And especially with like Reels and TikTok kind of stuff, the other thing too is like a lot of our packages that are more affordable for people. You're only getting, if you're doing Reels, for instance, no matter what type of package you do, we have some that are social media, we have some that are video specific. You might get like 2 Reels out of it in a month,
right?
And most people are like, well, like I want one every week, or I want more than one a week,
right.
And I think some people do think like, well, I can just go do this myself, and that's more cost effective to me, and then they just don't do it.
Well, yeah,
that's the main thing,
because that's the easiest thing to just kind of put on the back burner. Like, well, I'll get to it.
I'll do it myself, whatever. But then the second thing is like, I do know one of our clients that does them on their own, or I don't think they're a client anymore now. They did a website with us, but like it's a lot of like just their phone and them, and they would talk about their industry and whatever. That doesn't work for all businesses. It doesn't actually work for a lot of businesses. But like you have to be really consistent with it too. And you do have to do editing. Like some people are watching those videos in silence. So they want text on the screen. Yep. They want to edit little scenes together. They can't, a lot of people, though it's more accessible. There's a lot of people that struggle with that and doing that in a way that doesn't just look bad. Right. Or do it at all. And so, yeah, there's just so many things to talk about and so many needs. And we are trying to help people get through that, especially with the increased costs, whether that's because of more volume or because of increased costs or both. And it's just an interesting challenge to overcome. And we talk about it often, just like how we're going to cover things from a resource perspective or a cost perspective. And I don't know if people really know what the challenges are there, and I don't know if we've really hit them all, but there's a quick look at it.
Yeah. I think this will help people at least understand a little bit more on what goes into that and what you got to think about when you're just don't do it because you're like, you've read out an article like video's king, you got to be doing video. It's like, hey, that's great, but go into it a little bit more educated than that, know, and hopefully this can help with that.
I think one just final example to end on this podcast, we are also filming, whether you're just hearing the audio only, and we've got, my camera, Brian's looking at his camera. So it's 2 camera, we've got lights, we've got sound, we've got audio, like to even just do this simple thing. Like, yeah, you could do it with 2 phones. Yeah. But then you also have to piece that together, and you better know how to do that. Yep. We've seen people try to do it with 1 phone, just out in front of both people. And we all know how that looks. Yeah. But just so anyway, just something simple like this where we're just sitting, there's not tons of takes. There's not even as much editing to it, but still requires the equipment. We got stands and lights and just all this stuff. Like the costs are there. Yes. And so I just say that not to scare people away from doing video, but we're here to help with that. If you need it, if you want it, if you want to talk more about what that looks like for you and your business. Sure. And we can even also help you understand, like, don't pay for this kind of video. For your business, that's not going to do anything. You should be doing this kind of video. If you can't afford much, you should do this.
Well, that's what our expertise is probably the best in, is to understanding the client's needs and then the strategy of it,
of the storytelling. Nailed it.
and guiding them along that path. Like, cause like, oh, I want to do a 90-minute documentary, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no,
I've heard that one before.
You actually don't want to do that yet. You want to like ease into something like that. Like start a podcast, do something smaller. And that's what we're really here for, is to educate them and tell them, hey, I'm excited for you about that idea, but there's a few things that we need to get to before we get to that idea. Right. And I think
like B-roll,
and
it's really boring looking at your face. Sorry.
Figuring out what we're going to talk about, so I think that about wraps it up. It definitely is not all the things to talk about video, but it's definitely a good start, I think, there. So thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode, and we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening to Strategic Storytelling, a Pathfinder podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow our socials. For more information, visit our website, yourpathfinder.io.